That's good. And they understand contextually where those questions lie, where that call lands in the entire process. So they visually understand where that call is and they know the questions to ask. But it's not until you give them the mindset as to why that question is so important that it doesn't all kind of come together for them.
What if you could step out of the day-to-day and see your business from a whole new perspective? Welcome to Above the Business, where we empower you to rise above the daily grind and embrace a higher way of business ownership. Get ready to build your business by design. Are you an agency owner looking to better understand your financials and take charge of your tax bill? Well, Club Capital is here to help. As the largest accounting and advisory firm for insurance agency owners in the country, they are way more than your everyday run-of-the-mill CPA. Club Capital provides financial, CFO, and tax advisory services to help you plan and forecast your financial success. You'll meet every month to review your agency's financial performance, the difference between your profit and actual cash flow, along with helping you better understand your bottom line. Visit club.capital to book a solution overview with one of our business consultants. Club Capital, way more than a CPA firm.
Hey everyone. So I was talking to some clients earlier this week and actually over the past week or so. And as they were going through wanting to document and build their sales playbook, one of the 15 main playbooks that it takes to build, really design and install an operating system for the business to run on, one of those key playbooks is your sales playbook. And they knew it. And it's one of the 5 main playbooks that they wanted to be able to design and install this year to make tangible progress. And the sales playbook makes a ton of sense. How do you get customers, acquisition? How do you get them to be worth more, ascension? And then how do you keep customers longer, retention? Those are kind of the core functions of the sales playbook. But that's actually not the topic for today. The topic for today is when you're actually going through and you're beginning to think about the documentation of your sales. How do you do it? Like, where do you start? And they were sharing with me that they visually look at a blank Word document and they just don't know where to begin. So I'm going to give you a really easy, simple 3-step framework that we use when it comes to really documentation of any kind, but specifically, this becomes really paramount whenever you're talking about your sales process. And so there's 3 things. There is process, scripts, and mindset. Process, scripts, and mindset. Now, when it comes to process, you'll probably hear me talk about this more in some of the Friday solos that we do, but it really comes first and foremost with a visual mapping of the process. In other words, somebody to actually be able to see what is the actual workflow. Now, this doesn't have to be with fancy software. We do use the software to do this. We visually map all of our processes, but you don't have to do that. You can quite literally use sticky pads and a whiteboard or a flip chart. Take a picture of that, and now that is an asset. So in other words, if you used just the 2x2 Post-it notes, and whenever they're square, that means one thing, and then you turn them sideways, that is a decision point because it's in a triangle. You could literally just do that and write on it with a pen, and oh my goodness, you would get so far down the road in creating an incredible playbook because number one, your sales team would be able to visually see what does the entire sales process actually look like from the time that they get a lead to the time that onboarding begins. That entire journey from lead to now they are a customer, what does it actually look like? Not just written words in a step-by-step manner. We'll get there in a second, but what does it visually look like? So when we think about process, I think about visually mapping how you actually do it. Step number 2 is the actual scripts. And I think that people default to this one, which is incredibly important. What do you want them to say initially? What is the emails, templates that you want them to use? What are the text templates that you want them to use? What does the conversation actually look like? What are the typical questions that you want them to ask, etc.? And then step number 3, and this is the part I believe that I certainly had to learn myself and had so many mentors along the way to kind of share these things with me, but it's the mindset. And in other words, you can tell somebody, hey, look, this is all of the steps visually from the time that you actually get a lead to these are the emails that you send, and these are the text messages that you send, and this is how the conversation flow actually works. And these are the things that you say in that conversation. But if we miss the mindset behind it, they may not understand or pick up on the why. Why do we actually ask that question? So one of the questions that we always ask when we're having an intake is to lean out 3 years and to look back on your business and you're really happy with the progress that you've made. Well, I can tell somebody, and of course we ask it in a better way than I just demonstrated there. But the point is that we have a script around how to ask that question. Well, that is one of maybe about 10 or so intake questions on a discovery call that we will have. But that's good. And they understand contextually where those questions lie, where that call lands in the entire process. So they visually understand where that call is and they know the questions to ask. But it's not until you give them the mindset as to why that question is so important that it doesn't all kind of come together for them. And so those are the three things that I believe really become critical when you're building really any system or documenting any system, building a playbook into your business. But it becomes absolutely imperatively important whenever you're talking about your sales playbook. So process, scripts, and mindset. Those are the three things that you need whenever you're building your sales playbook. Love to hear what you loved from this episode. Shoot me a message back.
You know how important it is to develop yourself and to develop your team. Well, if you're going to do that, you want to do it with the best. Work with Coach P Consulting to learn and implement the same strategies that he used to sell over 700 life policies in 2021 alone. You'll get personalized coaching 2 times a week and an in-depth look at how his office is run. And Coach P will train your team alongside his own. Get your first month free when you mention the Club Capital Leadership Podcast during sign up. Visit CoachPconsulting.com to get started.